Right now, the most valuable footballer on the planet wasn't even born when Ronaldinho was making grown men fall over in Camp Nou. He's 18 years old, and in the last 12 months, his value grew by more money than most clubs are worth. This is the story of how football decided what a player is worth, one record at a time, for 21 straight years. Before algorithms, before Instagram, before anyone tracked a player's worth in real time, there was one number that mattered and one man who owned it. In late 2004, two names briefly sat at the very top of football's first ever public valuations, Ronaldo Nazario and Arsenal's Thierry Henry. It didn't last. Weeks later, a Brazilian at Barcelona with a gap-toothed grin took over and stayed there for the next 5 years, Ronaldinho. By the 2005 to 2006 season, his value had climbed to 70 million euros, a figure nobody in football had touched before. That year wasn't just about the number. Barcelona won the Champions League. Ronaldinho won the Ballon d'Or. And for 90 minutes at a time, defenders stopped looking like professionals and started looking like extras in someone else's highlight reel. In 2007, he went even higher. 80 million euros, the peak of his career, off the back of a career-best 21 goals in La Liga. He never got that high again because two teenagers, one in Manchester, one in Barcelona, were about to make Ronaldinho's number look small. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't arrive as a finisher. He arrived as a trickster. All stepovers, no end product. Sir Alex Ferguson changed that. By 2008, Ronaldo had scored 42 goals, won the Premier League, lifted the Champions League in Moscow, picked up his first Ballon d'Or. The kid from Madeira had become the best player alive. Then, in the summer of 2009, Real Madrid paid a world record fee to bring him to the Bernabeu, a statement as much as a signing. But while Madrid made headlines, Barcelona made history. Under Pep Guardiola, a 21-year-old Lionel Messi ran the treble, La Liga, Copa del Rey, Champions League, almost single-handedly. A year later, Messi broke new ground of his own. In August 2010, he became the first player ever valued at 100 million euros. From that point, for the best part of a decade, only two players in the world would ever hold that number, Messi and Ronaldo. Here's a question nobody could answer for 15 years. Who's actually better? 2012 didn't belong to a season. It belonged to history. Messi scored 91 goals in a single calendar year, a modern football record that still stands today. His value hit 120 million euros, a new ceiling for the sport. Ronaldo's answer came a year later. In the 2012-13 season, he became only the second player ever to cross the 100 million mark, worth twice as much as a rising 21-year-old Brazilian named Neymar, who was still playing his football at Santos. Every Clásico between them stopped being a football match. It became appointment television for half the planet. By 2014, Ronaldo had led Madrid to their long-awaited Décima, a 10th European Cup. Messi kept producing, and somewhere in the background, a French teenager and a Brazilian wonder kid were about to force their way into a conversation that for a decade had only had room for two names. Barcelona's MSN front three, Messi, Suarez, Neymar, didn't just win a second treble in 2015. They rewrote what a front line could do to a defense. Neymar's own number kept climbing. By 2015, he'd crossed 100 million euros himself. Then in the summer of 2017, everything changed. Paris Saint-Germain triggered Neymar's release clause for 222 million euros, a fee so far beyond anything football had seen that it didn't just move the market, it broke it. Overnight, Neymar's valuation jumped to 150 million euros. Players weren't just being valued anymore, they were being priced like global assets. And in Monaco, an 18-year-old was about to make Neymar's fee look like the opening bid. Kylian Mbappé didn't ease into stardom. He announced it at the 2018 World Cup with the pace of a sprinter and the finishing of a man twice his age. France won the tournament. Mbappé became a global name overnight. That same year, Messi reached a new personal record of his own, 180 million euros. Weeks later, both Neymar and Mbappé matched it. Then, in mid-December 2018, just days before he turned 20, Mbappé became the first player in history valued at 200 million euros. Nobody would touch that number again for almost 6 years. Not even a global pandemic could shake it. Through 2020, as stadiums emptied and the football economy froze, one thing didn't move. Mbappé, still the most valuable player alive, even in a world that had stopped. If Mbappé was speed, Erling Haaland was inevitability. At Borussia Dortmund, he wasn't scoring goals so much as removing the suspense from them. When he moved to Manchester City in 2022, his numbers didn't just stay historic, they became absurd. And for the first time in years, A Premier League player sat at the very top of football's value rankings. By 2023, Haaland and Mbappé had become the two undisputed names at the summit, the Messi and Ronaldo conversation of a new generation. In 2024, Mbappé finally completed the move the whole sport had been waiting for: Real Madrid. And while the two forwards traded blows at the top, a teenager at Barcelona was quietly doing something neither of them had done that young. By the summer of 2025, football's valuation models had a new leader. He was 18. Lamine Yamal's value grew by roughly 110 million euros in a single season, the single biggest jump of any player on the planet, taking him to 200 million euros by Transfermarkt's count. Independent models went further still. By mid-2025, his value was placed above 279 million euros, ahead of Mbappé, Haaland, Jude Bellingham, and Vinicius Jr., who rounded out a top five stacked almost entirely with players under 25. By December 2025, Mbappé had clawed his way back level with Yamal and Haaland at the top of the rankings, driven by arguably the best form of his career at the Bernabeu, which brings us to now. 21 years after Ronaldinho set the first real benchmark at 50 million euros, the number that once sounded unbelievable would barely register outside a top 100 list today. The names have changed 6 times over. The rivalry has never stopped. Market value was never really about the money. It was football's way of asking the same question, year after year: who matters most right now? Ronaldinho answered it with a smile. Messi and Ronaldo answered it for 15 years together. Neymar broke the market. Mbappé broke the record. Haaland broke the mold. And an 18-year-old from Barcelona just broke all of it again. The number will keep rising. The names will keep changing. That's the one part of this story that never ends. So, who do you think holds this record 5 years from now? Drop your pick below and subscribe if you want to be here when the next name takes the throne.